last night, I always put down my younger two first. And I went to Olivia's room and she always reads. Guess what book my 8-year-old was reading?
5 years.
5 years. And she goes, Mommy, I love this book. She had read 8 pages. And I was like, no.
Yeah, you're not reading this book yet.
No.
Yep. Age appropriate.
Age appropriate.
Honestly, that makes sense for Olivia. Olivia and I had a great conversation at the park yesterday about all the boys.
Oh, God.
And
she likes the older boys.
The older boys. Yep.
Oh, we're so
She was like, they're so cute. She was looking around the park and she was like, they dress like, and then she pointed at Matt, my husband, Matt. And she pointed at Matt, they dress like him with their hats backwards. And I was like, I love a backwards hat. I get that. Totally.
So you've got the same style as Olivia?
I was like, great. I was like, we can relate on this. And she was like talking about how they have such cool names like Elijah and it was a whole thing.
Oh,
I was like, Elijah's a cool name. I had no idea. She was like, yeah, I've got a crush on this boy in 5th grade. And I was like, she was like, I was like, is he nice? She's like, yeah. It's like, have you talked to him? No. And I was like, how do you know he's nice then? If you haven't talked to him, you don't know he's nice.
Oh my God.
It was such a funny conversation. She's like, I just want to talk to my friends and I want to text my friends. I don't want to be at the park. I was like, I get that. But like, we might need to wait a little bit.
Yeah. She thinks she's like legit too cool for the park.
She is too cool for the park.
She's too cool for the park. With her crop top on, leather jacket. She's just like,
why are these kids at the park? Like, why? Yeah. Welcome back to Redefined. We are so happy to be here and we're warm by the fire. The sun is out and shining.
I know. Beautiful day in the Bay.
Yep. And we've got an incredible guest with us today.
I mean, our guests are just like
10 out of 10.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I keep telling my friends like who's coming on our show. And they're like, are you serious? I'm like, yes.
Yeah. I think that the thing I'm most excited about is when we have women on our show that are in male dominated fields.
Yeah.
For me, like that is just such a close to home.
Yeah.
Women who can hold their own in a room full of men is just my cup of tea. So we've got Jenny Cavnar on our show today.
I know. I'm really excited to chat with her. She obviously, most people know she's a trailblazer, first female ever primary play-by-play in the MLB for the Oakland A's. So just breaking history barriers.
Yep.
She's super passionate about giving back, providing other opportunities for women to come in her path. And she's a mom, grew up in a baseball household. So I'm so interested to hear about how she grew up and her trajectory. And
we love a girl on a mic.
Yeah, we do.
We love a girl with a big microphone.
Yeah, we do.
More girls with microphones. That's an in for 2025.
Ooh.
Girls with microphones.
Add it to the list.
Give more girls microphones.
Yep.
Jenny.
Hi.
Welcome to Redefining, Jenny.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I wish I was right next to you with that cozy fire, little cup of coffee, but this will be great.
I know. We're finally warm.
Finally warm.
Yeah. Where are you in Denver right now? Or are you on the road?
We live just north of Denver. So home, I'm momming it up for the off season, but I am deep into that calendar, ladies. I am trying to schedule out the baseball season, my travel, who's watching children, all the things that us working moms balance. So that's the thick of my duties right now.
What do you love to do in your off season specifically?
Yeah, I think the off season is such a good time to reconnect. It's just been really great to be home. Like you realize, your kids have this whole life outside of you, which is so cool. And it's fun to kind of get to watch what they're doing. I try and volunteer at the school a little bit just to kind of see what they're up to in their little worlds. But I love the carpool thing. I love being the mom that gets to take her kids to school and then we have all the activities, and maybe I'm guilty of overscheduling them for the activities, but we like to travel a little bit, which sounds weird because that's all I do all season long during baseball. But it's a good time, again, just using the word reconnection with my husband. He's a firefighter in Denver, so our schedules are really ships in the night sometimes. And we always try and plan a really fun vacation in the off season. So we did Hawaii this year and just kind of reset us and our goals and, what's coming up for the upcoming year. So it's been a good time of just being, I guess, more than anything.
Yeah, I love
amazing.
that. Hawaii is like the best place to do that. I feel like it's the only place
so
where
good.
you can truly relax, even when you have children.
Yeah.
It's so calming.
Kid-friendly vacations are hard to come by. Yeah, for
Otherwise, you come back from vacation, you're like, shit, I need a vacation.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. No, we call those trips. When you're taking the children, they're trips.
Yes. Let's rephrase that. Trips. Yeah,
That's for sure. Vacations when they're not coming with us.
Yeah. How do you talk about your like network and your community and your village? Like, how do you both do it with the schedules that you have? Like, how is it even possible?
Gosh, it's the only way to do it, right? I think more than anything, this last year, I've spent a lot of time this offseason reflecting, right? I think anytime you make a huge change like I did and you're starting a new job in your career and you're doing it remotely, really, I mean, we kept our home base in Colorado. So I was flying out either to Oakland or meeting the team on the road all season long. And you just get in this cycle of going, doing, trying to, get through the next thing, trying to be better in the moment. Like so much was happening, and I'm sure we'll get into all of it last year, with the Athletics in my first season with them. It was their last season in a city. So there was just a lot of layers of change going on that I wasn't even ready for or anticipating. So once you get thrown into that fire, you're just trying to survive sometimes. And having that time to reflect this off season, like the number one thing I come back to is pure gratitude for my parents, for my in-laws. The fact that they wanted, I get really emotional about it because they wanted to take this journey with me. I had to ask my parents permission to take a job because I knew how important it was going to be that they were on board to help and spend so much time with our children.
Yeah. It's kind of like yours.
Oh, it's so much like mine. I mean, I've been piecemealing this whole thing together for years now. And when they were babies, I was taking them with me coaching. And now it's been piecemealing who's taking them on the weekends and trying to figure
family,
it's all these people and figuring it out. And it makes me emotional too, of like you getting all of that support.
It's amazing.
It's a very overwhelming sense of gratitude that I also have for the village that is helping me parent these children as well.
Yeah,
for sure. I think you just mentioned it, right? Like overwhelming logistically. Like that was what I think I've always been, I like to plan. I like to put things on paper. I like to match schedules. Like I don't mind booking travel. Like I feel like I can kind of do that world. But when it comes crashing in on like, you also feel like you have so much time that needs to be spent on your actual job and how you're giving it to like, how do I just make my job work logistically? That was a real mental hurdle for me and a burden that like I felt. Everyone's like, oh, you just dish it out. I'm like, I can't dish that out. Like, this is my job to like make sure my children are taken care of and like everyone's on the same page and, be that communicator. And so I really realized how much time and really a big effort that took, in addition to also doing a really big job.
Yeah, the logistics of actually like going on a trip are so hard, and it seems to always fall on us, right? Like
the mamas.
We went on a trip last weekend, and one of my friends was like, "Have you packed yet?" I was like, "Me packed?
I gotta figure everybody else out before I pack my stuff. I can get my stuff in a suitcase really easily.
10:00 at night, like that's how it's rolling because there's so much that goes into it, right? But
and it's not like the normal 9 to 5 childcare. That we are looking for. And like the normal 9 to 5 childcare is pretty consistent or there are times where I've tried to find childcare and I'm like, this isn't a consistent gig here. This is a pretty like all over the place. I can give it to you in advance, but it's like pretty.
That's why you hire athletes. That's why so many of our babysitters are Santa Clara soccer players, Bay of Sea players, because they're used to being flexible and adaptable. And you're going to have to take them to the park here and do that. And hey, by the way, can you come over tomorrow morning?
Yeah, totally.
In between your practices.
Yeah, it's there's so much logistics in there. I know. Yeah.
Jenny, we always play a little fun game with our guests. It's a little lightning round.
Okay.
We love to get into it and ask some fun questions. So are you ready for our first question?
I think so.
Okay.
These things make me so nervous.
Oh, you'll be good. All right.
They're very light. Don't worry.
Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, don't worry. This is my favorite question. What is your pregame meal? And is it consistent every game that you call?
That is a really good question. It's usually at the mercy of whatever the media meal is that night or whatever ballpark we're at. I feel like when I was doing the Rockies, I used to be really consistent. I'd have these meals from like, you know, a place that puts together like macronutrient meals that I was always pick up and just eat one of those. And then I would have 5 M&Ms, peanut M&Ms. That was like the whole deal.
That's specific.
Very specific.
Same
just
color?
5. I always pick the green and gold ones because I'm a Colorado State Ram. And now it works for the Athletics because they're the same colors. But I ditched the M&Ms. This season. And I would just say it's more a coffee. That's probably very consistent. Like I always have a coffee right before a game, which apparently in your 40s, you're not supposed to like drink coffee after a certain amount of time because your cortisol levels spike.
Listen.
Sure.
We got a game to call here, right? We the coffee.
There's exceptions to the rule.
Exactly.
I make a lot of those exceptions all season long. Yes,
same.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Okay. Walk-up song. For you.
Oh man, I just like this is a hard one for me. If you ask me to like name like a favorite song, a favorite book, a favorite movie, this is when I panic. I'm like, I don't know, what is my favorite, whatever. So a walk-up song, I would say something 90s hip hop, but I don't have a specific title in mind. Yeah,
I love it.
I like that. Good vibe.
Good vibe. I go to
vibes,
Spotify and I type that exactly
90s
in.
hip hop, and then it's got you. Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, such good playlist.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, favorite sport to play or watch other than your sport. So no baseball, no softball.
No baseball, no softball. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I played lacrosse in
Or
college.
lacrosse. Oh yeah,
lacrosse.
So,
Lacrosse is not
double dip for you.
I would say that, but
Double
I will
dip.
say, I feel like this is so trendy now, but I've loved it for a while. But pickleball, I love playing pickleball.
We got pickleball. Yeah.
I knew you were going to get a pickleball.
We knew you were going to get a pickleballer. Yeah.
I'm not like on that spectrum. I'm just kind of like occasional spectrum.
Yeah, that's fun.
Cute outfits though, man. I love the pickleball outfits.
Cute
Like, it's a
outfits.
vibe. Sometimes I'm walking around in a tennis skirt. I'm like, I look like I play pickleball.
Yeah, or golf. Like
Totally. Okay, tell us about the airplane.
Yeah.
I want to hear about the
Airplane
airplane.
life?
What's the jet life like?
Yeah.
Jet life. Lucky in being a part of a team as a broadcaster in a professional sport, because a team charter is not a Southwest flight. We'll just put it that way.
You're correct. You are absolutely correct.
You ladies know what that charter life is like, and you feel so lucky to just, tune out as soon as the game's over. You're on the bus, your AirPods are in, you're listening to some music, you pull up, you're off, you're on the plane, you're in your seat. The flight attendant knows that drink, it's in your hand, you're getting snacks.
Different.
And you're taking off. And all of a sudden, the time the game ends till the time we're in the air is 90 minutes sometimes. It's crazy. It's crazy. And for me this year,
TSA is not screaming at you to take your laptop out of your bag, you mean?
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
Exactly. But I will say this year, having a home base in Colorado, I was doing a lot of the road games. So when the team was home, I would be back at my home in Colorado, and then I'd have to meet the team out on the road. So I got a good mix of commercial and charter life. And I feel like you always have to have your shows downloaded, ready, prepared. You got to stay hydrated or dehydrated sometimes in the air to get through it all. And I try to keep some, healthy snacks on me. I would say if I was smart, I'd wear compression socks, but I don't. Do you guys ever wear compression socks on?
Yes, I do.
I don't, but I've seen people do it.
The whole way up.
Yes, because I've had 2 ankle reconstructions, a knee reconstruction. My ankles are swollen as it is. Yes, it is not cute, but I do not care.
I did it when I was pregnant,
look how
but that was
pretty
the only
those
time.
legs are. If that's what it takes to get those legs, girl.
I work hard.
I should get after those compression socks.
I mean, they can be, people I think respect it. When they see it, they're like,
I do respect it when I see it.
I
see girls that are wearing that. I'm like, okay, you got your shit together. I'm like, I couldn't remember.
And they're going to be better off when they get off the plane than you.
We love Lycra. I like Lycra. You like Lycra?
We live in Lycra. I woke up this morning at 5:30 in the morning to go on my run. I put on my Lycra Lululemon leggings, my zip up, go to the girls' soccer practice, this time wear one of my Lycra jackets. It allows me to do my high intensity workouts, my hot yoga,
my high intensity parenting,
high intensity coaching.
Yes, all of the high intensity things.
I mean,
all of the low intensity things.
Jenny.
Yes.
Your most redefining moment.
Oh, man.
I know.
Oh, I think there are so many moments. I could probably point to my first redefining moment, which was high school. And, I was an athlete. I love sports. My dad was a high school baseball coach. But my dad and I always watched Monday Night Football together. And I remember seeing Melissa Stark come on TV as the sideline reporter and having like this aha moment. And I was like, that's what I want to do. And my dad just thought for like a brief minute and then was like, yeah, I see you doing that. It was so simple. Yeah. It could have been anyone saying that, but it was my dad. And I think that had a lot of weight into it. And so I think that really redefined at that moment, like who I was, instilled a lot of confidence of like, go for your dream. But again, it was this very simple interaction, but it sticks out to me. I think in my career, once I got in it, a redefining moment for me was in 2018. I had just had a baby. I had our oldest son, Vincent. He was an off-season baby. I had him in October, and it was actually the first year that the Rockies had made the postseason in my time there. So it's kind of funny because I was stuck at home, like getting ready to have this baby while I'm watching them in the postseason for the first time in my time there. And, have a baby, trying to figure out motherhood and get ready to come into the season and start having conversations about, they need someone to be the backup play-by-play that year. And they really want me to give it a try. And I was like, give it a try. Like, I'm giving this other thing a try. Like, I had a baby. Yeah. I'm trying to figure out how to do this and get back to work. And like, you just want me to give this thing a try. Yeah. All the things. So, I'll never forget those moments of like getting that tap on the shoulder. It was mid-April and it was a Sunday game at the ballpark, and getting the tap that said, you're going to call the game tomorrow. I mean, a lot of heads up there on that one. Wow. And I was like, I'm sorry, tomorrow? Come again?
Yeah.
And it just arrived, and I think I was still like logistically trying to figure out, again, you go back to not a 9 to 5, kudos to American workplaces and finding, moments for women to go pump and do what they need to do after having a baby. But you can't really do that during a live sporting event. There's not really like a time to say, could you put a 15-minute clock on it? I'll be right back. So I was still like navigating that. Right. And I'm like 6 months into having the baby, and I got it down where I was hosting the pre and post game show mostly. So I, go do the pregame show, come back, like go pump quickly, eat something, catch up on the game, watch the rest of the game, do the post game show, hopefully in enough time to like pump again or get home and feed my baby. And now I'm like, wait, but like calling a game that doesn't have a clock on it, like what if I get a 4-hour game? Like what's going to happen? So I have these like nightmares of not only like, now I'm going to call this game. What if I messed up? Of course you're going to mess up. It's the first time you're doing anything. But like, what if now we like come on camera and I'm just
I was just thinking about this.
Oh my gosh, what do I do here? So I'm having like double panic. But it's like, to me, that moment had to happen then, right? For me, I think if I overthought someone saying like, we're going to basically change the trajectory of your career and you're doing play-by-play, and I didn't have all these other things to think about and how I'm going to be a mom while doing this and, do my duties for my child and whatever, like, I don't know. It was all so scary. It's all happening at once. But I'm grateful for the people that believed in me enough. And mind you, like my producer at the time was a female who was literally my example in life of how I could be a working mom, because she had 3 kids and I watched her do it. And I watched her go through the struggles of being in our workplace and trying to navigate that, but doing it with such grace and really being a huge cheerleader when my husband and I wanted to start a family. And then for her to know that I could also try this, like that took a lot of guts for her to do that. And so I'm really grateful for that redefining moment.
Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of guts for you to say yes to something like that. I almost, when I hear your story, I'm actually glad they didn't give you too much of a heads up, because you could have said no. You would have had
too
more
much.
time.
You would have been like, no way.
Yeah. When you have so much time to really think through things, you're like, no, I can't do this. But in that moment, you had 24 hours. Like,
you just do it.
Sometimes you just say yes to things, and
sometimes
you see what happens.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's always been that was advice I was given when I was in college and pursuing being a sports broadcaster. It was, and it's advice I give now to young aspiring journalists of just say yes to the opportunity. You might have to move. You might have to get out of your comfort zone. You might have to not get paid a lot, for a job title, whatever it might be. But the just say yes part, I feel like was a huge foundation of my career up to that moment. How was I going to deny everything or that opportunity in terms of, that was kind of my motto the whole entire time for 2 decades. You better stick with it. And so I'm really glad I did. I had no idea it would turn out to, lead to a full-time play-by-play job.
Yeah. And
Incredible.
having your boss to look up to see her do it with such grace. We talk about a lot on this show about how she had looked, I'm older, I have more kids. So she had looked up to me as I continued having kids and continuing life and doing things. And if you can see it, you can be it. And in your example too, you had a great role model to give you that confidence and ability to be able to have someone believe in you, and that you can go out and do those things I
think on the flip side, it's so hard to be it if you don't see it.
Exactly.
We keep talking about how if you see it, you can do it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The people who are doing things that they haven't seen, that's or they see so little of.
Yeah.
Those are being the first female play-by-play announcer.
Yeah. Trailblazer.
That is absolutely iconic in somebody saying, and it only takes one person to say hey, I'm giving you a shot here. Go take this. And that is, now there are little girls, your own daughter, our daughters, who are able to see that happening and say, oh, I could, if that's what I'm meant to do, I'm able to go and do that now. Cause I see it. And it's so much easier for women in this space or moms in this space to be able to go and do things. And it's just so important.
Yeah. And Jenny, for you being a trailblazer, for getting that first opportunity, and how many now role models and girls and boys will look up to you for what you're doing. It's so cool. You had it and now you are it. What was that like when the Oakland A's MLB called you, asked you to be the first ever female primary play-by-play? What was that moment like? Where were you? Did it take you a long time to say yes? Or how did that all go down?
Yeah, it's all pretty overwhelming for sure. I think, just getting the opportunity to do it, to grow with it, with this group I had here in Colorado with the Rockies was really cool and really special. Didn't know it would turn into anything. But the more opportunities I got, I started doing a lot of college basketball play-by-play. I did a couple NBA games, and really that's the intersection of my current boss at NBC Sports California, Devin Fox, and her vision, which is so amazing. Of, she had me come out to call an NBA game. Just, they were testing some gear, and she's like, I just want to have people hear you call a game and see you out here in California. And so I was like, oh yeah, it'd be fun. So I did that one off season. And then, her and I stayed in touch about some opportunities, and it just things were not lining up. My husband was getting into the fire department. We were moving, we were building a house. I'm like, yeah, not good timing. And then the job opened, and when the job's open, it's open. Timing doesn't really wait for you. And so we had some conversations, going into last off season, and she's like, this job's open. I want to know if we could make it work. And she got really creative with it of saying we don't know how long the A's are going to be in Oakland. Mm-hmm. So I know I can't ask you to move here, but if you get this job, what if you did the road games? You got to stay at home with your family in Colorado, and we could make it work. And I think that creativity right there, I'm not saying a man wouldn't have come up with that plan, but as a working mom herself, I think Devin was really just thinking of a way to say how can I get what we want and what you want and make
a man
it
hadn't come up with that plan.
But you're right. Okay, let's
yeah. Okay, we'll say it. We'll say it. I'll say it.
Yeah, you say it, Arielle. I feel better. No, so I think that was just really cool that she was trying to find a way. She really wanted to work with me, and we'd been friends for a very long time. And so this was the job, this was the opportunity, and she took a huge chance, right? You talk about being a trailblazer. I think being the person that is the decision maker to say, I want to make a change. I want to make a change not only at our network, I want to make a change in this game. I want to make a change in a voice that is heard in this game. It takes a lot of guts. It takes a lot of guts. And it's not easy, as I'm sure, she found out, I found out throughout the course of the year, is I think no matter how respected I felt like I was in the game or how many great relationships I had in the game, it was still something very different that people were hearing and that the audience was hearing, especially for a fan base that was losing their team to another city eventually. Like things were just at a crossroads of being very, very challenging. And so I think, we had to kind of just get to that moment and that point of like, I had to get to that moment and point of really like feeling like I lost myself a little bit and then refining myself and really getting back to that foundation of my faith first and foremost, of the people that believe in me, my belief in myself, and knowing that when you are the front of change, it's really going to be hard for people, and you can't change people's minds, but you can just be yourself and be consistent at being yourself. And that change will either grow on people or it won't. And that's the business we're in. People might like you, they might not like you. And that's the entertainment world for you.
Okay, tell me about the trolls. Tell me about the hate and the trolls and the people. Tell me about it. Because that's something that I need some.
No, you don't. You're fine with it.
I know I'm fine with it.
I would need help with that. You are so
but that's.
Haters going to hate.
Haters are going to hate. And that is the 34-year-old version of me that is like, I can do this. Tell me about how that has gone and how you've navigated it.
Yeah, I think I've always been a person. Well, first of all, I'm so glad I didn't start in this business when Twitter was around.
No kidding.
When I started, there was no feedback. You had to physically call the station and get on the voicemail and say your rant, or you had to give me feedback to my face, and that's it. For you guys as former athletes, if you were going to hear negative feedback about yourself, it happened with a fan booing you. You could see them, right? You could have some face-to-face interaction with it. It doesn't happen that way these days, right? You can just log onto Twitter anytime you want to feel real bad about yourself. Just open
behind a
X,
fake account
hit
and
that
just
X
talk
button.
about
See
totally.
what the bots are saying about you. Yeah. And it's, I think it's gross when you dive into who's making these comments, just being all right, I just want to check this guy's profile. Who is he? What gives him the right to say these comments,
let's
right?
talk about it.
The amount of times that you read in their bio, proud father of 2 girls.
Yeah.
I'm come again?
No way.
Yeah. You're the one saying going back to the kitchen. Go back to the kitchen.
Yeah, totally.
What? No, let's get out of that situation. So I think just really I had to stop reading. I had to get off. I deleted all the social media this year at one point. And every once in a while I'd get brave and go back on and just tonight I feel brave. Let's see what's happening. But it was more for me, I think the hardest part for me this year is this new culture that we're entering into of AI, and having someone make an entire home run call that wasn't even me, but has my voice now, because all you need is 7 seconds of someone's voice to make an entire AI video. And it's this home run call of me just sounding like a complete dumb idiot girl in high school, and calling the home run the wrong way, all these things that started getting millions of views, and to the point where that was when I was wait a second, but that's not me. It's okay for you to not like me or something I said on television or how I look or whatever. I'm over all that. That's fine. What's not okay is for you to talk about me when it's not even me. It's not real. It's not real. You're really believing that that's real. And so that was a weird thing to have to let go of, and just be like, well, I guess that's, the world we live in. That's not me. So I'm going to move along, but people are going to think that's me. So, so that was like a new challenge, I guess, to navigate in the troll world.
Yeah,
especially in like the baseball world, where I feel like primary, like most of your audience is men.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of men, and there's a lot of older men, right? I think that's when you break down like demographics of the game, in any sport, I think baseball is trying to do a better job of reaching out to a younger audience and pulling them in. But really, when you break down, like if you're watching NHL or NBA or NFL or baseball, I would say, Mike, this is just a pure, throw a dart guess, is that MLB probably has a, higher aged audience of males than any of the other sports. So, that's different too. It's a generational difference of, the one I love hearing is like, well, I grew up listening to all these amazing voices and, just never going to be one of those. And you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, I listen to all those amazing voices too. I'm not trying to be like, I'm trying to be myself. I'm trying to be myself in this game. And that's what's beautiful too about someone seeing the representation of having a female voice in this game is there is a huge female audience. There really is. Think about, an entire couple of generations now who have been, moms that have really been active and participating with their kids' sports. Like, sure, team moms, but like we're talking about moms who have coached their kids now through Little League, through, playing various youth sports, and grew a deep passion for this game and a love for this game and want to, continue to be a fan of it at the highest level. They're watching and they want to hear their voice represented. I think that was a really powerful moment for me. I've always been very impressed and inspired, obviously by young girls, but by dads who come up and want to have that conversation of like, I got to watch a game with my little girl and like show her that there's a voice of hers here. That's amazing. But the one that like really hit me this year is the A's were in San Diego, and this older woman, she's probably in her late 60s, early 70s, was waiting by the team bus and just like yelled when I came out. And I went over to talk to her, and she's like, I've been waiting decades to hear my voice in a game. Boom.
Tears.
I was like, wow.
Love that.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
If there was something that you could change about the landscape of broadcast or the landscape of the MLB right now, what would that be?
I think it's kind of back to what I talked about, like the idea that there's all these initiatives to really change the audience and bring in a younger audience, I think is so important because there are, just in all facets of the game, there are so many legendary broadcasters. Today we just lost Bob Uecker of the Milwaukee Brewers, who passed away at the age of 90, and he worked until the day he died. Like, what an amazing career to go from playing to the broadcast booth to really being the heart and soul of the Milwaukee Brewers and have an amazing acting career and be so funny. And, when you think about the Brewers and you want to name like 5 things about the organization over the history of time, like he is one of those names that you would put in there. But as we kind of lose some of these voices, we are getting younger voices in the game, and hopefully to some degree that might bring a new perspective. It might bring a different way the audience views a game, and maybe it will bring in some younger audience. I think too, just highlighting passion of the players. I think MLB has done a better job of, letting the kids be kids over the course of the last couple of years, but there's some really great personalities in the game. And I don't think in years past or decades past, you always got to see all the personality come out. Sometimes the game could be a little vanilla around that part. So I think they're doing a better job of that.
The game has changed. Everything is changing for the better, And you're a big piece to that in the baseball side. It's so cool to see.
Well, thanks. I'm very humbled by that. I think it's a great responsibility for sure. And you always you want to make sure you're doing your best to make sure that path maintains intact, right? And continues to be built. I think that's the pressure when you talk, like I'm very uncomfortable with the term trailblazer because I think there were a lot of amazing trailblazing women in our game, Susan Waldman being one of them, who's been a Yankees broadcaster for a very long time. But, you know, to be able to be like, wow, like she held that door open for so long, and like I will not let it shut anymore. Like my job is to open it a little bit more, right? Like there's a crack, keep it open, and you see you can see these women coming through who are going to be better off and more experienced because they had opportunities at an age where like I didn't have them. I mean, that's kind of a funny side story is I will not name the broadcaster, but he's a very, like he does national broadcasts and he's a broadcaster for a baseball team. And my first year of calling games, I remember him coming up to me, their team was in town. And he came up to me and was like, I want you to know, I think it's so great what you're doing. Like I'm a big supporter of women. And I was like, okay, you know, and that starts that way.
Always like, kind of weary when
here we go.
2 thumbs up.
Keep
here we
talking.
Yeah. And so I was like, this is great, whatever. And then there was, you know, some text messages exchange. Like if I can do anything to help you, let me know along the way. And then I got a text that was like, I just want you to know, I do think it's great what you're doing, but it's a big road ahead. You're just never going to move the needle in women's voices in this game. I called 572 minor league games before I ever got a chance to call a major league game. And it's like, all I could say, there's so many things. I was so heated. I felt so passionate about what he was telling me. And I had so many things I wanted to say back. And all I could say was just like, thank you. Thank you for your advice. Yeah. Like, you know, it's unbelievable that you feel like you have to justify your existence and your path to get here and ask me literally why I didn't do the same thing. Well, what I would have wanted to tell him is that opportunity wasn't available. What minor league team was hiring a woman when I started broadcasting baseball in 2007? None of them. So I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that was out there, buddy. Like it's a different road.
It's just projecting.
Yeah. Big supporter of women though.
Guys,
big supporter of women.
Weekly Flex.
Yeah. Okay. So this segment is sponsored by Lycra, our Weekly Flex. It's our opportunity, all of us, to flex on something cool that we've done this week. And it can be something extravagant and it can be something small that you feel just like accomplished for doing. So
and what we're really trying to do with this is we're trying to make it normal to talk about ourselves because we both hate it so much.
It's hard.
Like, what are you supposed to do is like say like, look at me. Like, no, look at you, Arielle. You start us off with a bang on your flex.
Let's go. Let's flex it.
Okay, so my weekly flex, I've got, two.
I know, and I don't know which one you're going to go with.
Okay, so my weekly flex is that I wish I was wearing it right now.
I know, I feel like you need to be wearing it.
My husband found my engagement ring and I lost my engagement ring.
Tell the story.
About 1.5 years ago. And I mean, it was gone. Like I was convinced that I had left it in Tampa and I was like, it's gone. Like it was a couple months. I lose things a lot. I'm like all over the place a little bit. And so I was like, this is very on brand for me. Like I lost my damn engagement ring. And then over Christmas, I opened up a jewelry box and my husband had my engagement ring in the box. And I was like, I've never been more surprised in my life. Like I was pretty like, man, things don't really get to me that bad. That one got to me. I was like, I'm an idiot. And I opened it up and it was in there and he had found it underneath the rug, underneath the bed.
Oh
and it
my
was just
gosh.
that could have been vacuumed up so easily. And so
did you cry? Did you hug? What was your
I
first
just was
reaction?
kind of like shocked. And I was like, I don't know. I don't really like, I don't
you're
know.
Not very emotional.
I'm not very like, I just was like, I really, truly like the only way that I can communicate it is like with my words that I was more surprised than I've ever been in my like life that I've not found my I don't really know if this is a flex.
Yeah.
Like this is
Wait,
it's a
how
flex that I
long
have
did
my
he
ring
sit
back.
on it? How long did he sit on it?
He sat on,
That's
it for
impressive.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
He sat on it for 2 weeks. He found it before we went to Vegas for a tournament and then was like, we're getting close to Christmas, like might as well. And I was like,
that's smart on his
valid.
part. I don't think I would have been able to hold that in. I would have been like,
Yeah,
running.
I was so surprised, but more of a flex for Matt for finding it, but a flex that I've got my engagement ring back.
You're not
I
wearing.
also can't sleep with it on, so I take it off every single night, and so half the days I forget to put it back on, and like I just little all over the place here, but like that's okay. I have my engagement ring back. We're good.
Oh,
everything's normal. Everything's at.
So
my
happy for
daughters
you.
are really happy that I didn't like my mom's ring. Like you know,
all of it.
such a special
So
piece,
good.
and so we're good. We're back. We're flexing.
Well, yeah, but you're not wearing it today. So
I'm not wearing it today. I'm
next
not flexing in
episode
front of
you'll be
everybody yet,
flexing.
but you'll see it on another episode. It's a nice ring. It's a good.
Yeah.
We'll add a picture.
yeah,
It's a good ring.
Oh, well, I'll go next, Jenny. Tough to go
Okay.
after that one.
Yeah, let's
my
go.
weekly flex is getting a weekend away with my hubby. Ricky and I went to Cabo. As we all know, it is hard to logistically find. We have no family here. We don't have a support system. So to be able to find your babysitter, thank you, Hannah, take care of our kids.
Go Hannah.
Get Gunner, our new dog, taken care of.
Yep.
Just being able to spend time with my husband, just him and I. We try to do 2 or 3 trips a year. It was amazing. It filled our cup. We didn't have a sip of alcohol. We just enjoyed each other, enjoyed the non-chaos that we are used to.
You read a book.
What?
You
I
read
read
a
a book.
book?
I
Yeah.
didn't drink alcohol.
Yeah.
We just ate, worked out. We watched Netflix for the first time in 3 years. We were in our
Yeah.
hotel room at 8:00. It was just, but being away from even 2 nights from the kids, it was enough. It felt like a week. And I feel fortunate that we were able to have some mommy and daddy time and hope to continue to keep this thing going and spend some time together. So
Yeah, that's a good one.
My flex.
I feel like you had like
flex.
3 flexes in one, like no alcohol, no.
Thank you,
What
Jenny.
was the
That
other
is
one?
a flex. No
Her
alcohol.
biggest flex is that she's being lame.
Yeah, they're giving me a hard time about it. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you.
That would be the hardest thing for me to just go to Cabo and not even like look at
Right?
tequila.
I know.
Wow.
But I felt good. I slept. We worked out.
that
we
is a
ate
flex.
better.
Feeling
everything.
good is a flex, I will
Thank
say.
you.
Yeah.
That is
Thank
great.
you.
I was gonna flex it. Like I'm down to only having wine 3 nights a week, but now I
Ooh,
feel
I like
I
that.
could
You're
just
on
bury
my speed,
flex.
Jenny. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is my flex. Is like part of this off season was of reflection. Is you have to grow in some level, and I felt like I was really lacking in some discipline over the season. Rightfully so, right? I got like catapulted into a lot of change, a lot of something new, and I think sometimes you can just like go by the wayside on taking care of yourself. So I was like, this off season, I'm going to just get after it. So I've like been back in the gym. I'm feeling strong again. I'm feeling disciplined in eating. And only drinking wine 3 days a week.
Yeah.
That's good. That's great.
But no, I just like, I feel like I have more mental clarity going into the season, which is so important to give yourself space, I guess, to embark on a big thing. And so I'm really proud of that.
Yay.
That's awesome.
Good flexes, everybody.
Yeah, I like our reflexes of
Good
variety.
flexes. Yep.
Yeah. Jenny, thank you so much for spending time with us today. We were really looking forward to this conversation, and you're so polished, but you're so down to earth, and you seem so genuine, and it's just so cool to be able to hear your story. And you continue to kick ass, and you're literally opening doors for women to come. And we are grateful that you chose to be on Redefined. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys so much for having me. I appreciate it. I'm so pumped to be a podcast listener of Redefined. Yay!
Jenny was talking about how she likes to travel when she's off season too. When I'm like not traveling, I'm like, I want to go home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to. Maybe we need to like do a non-volleyball trip somewhere.
Yeah. I think you need to do something. Like, when's the last time you've gone somewhere with Matt or with friends, non-volleyball related? See?
I
See?
don't do it a lot. We travel so much for volleyball that I'm like, I want a weekend at home.
I know. And then
Sunday at home or Saturday at home. Yeah, right. That never happens.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. But I loved what she was saying too about like going to Hawaii, being more present. Part of her goals this off season was to try to be more present, not be stressed out, thinking about all the prep. I mean, I can imagine she has like when you're a broadcaster reporter, you feel like you have to be dialed in every minute
all
so you
the
don't
time.
miss anything.
Yeah, totally.
So how hard it is to be able to like unwind, be present with your children, stay in the moment in that industry is really hard to do. So that was impressive. That's
such a cool interview.
And I just loved how she kept referring to women before her and how.
Yeah, it was so funny. She talked about how like, she's like, I'm not like a trailblazer.
Yeah.
And she is.
Yeah.
I get that feeling sometimes of like, I'm not the first girl to do anything. Like there are women that have gone through so much worse than I have gone through or this or that. It's like, but it's just that's the mentality you kind of have to have of like,
I know.
You just do it. But I love that she was like, okay, there are probably women that are in her mind of like, every time anybody talks about her, she's like, what about them? Like, what about these girls and women who have done this? So
thanks for tuning in, liking us, subscribing to us. You know where to find us. Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you listen to your podcast. But we appreciate y'all. We love you all. Our guests are just incredible. And it's been so fun to storytell and get to know and inspire. And I know that I'm inspired.
Yeah.
Like, this is so fun.
Give women bigger microphones.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt.
Yeah. Oh, or your new hat. Put
it on a hat.
Yeah.
Put it on a shirt. Put it on a coffee mug.
You know what? It's done. Redefined. Stay tuned.
See you next week.